Hello everybody, welcome back to my play-along tutorial of Europa Universalis 4. Last time we learned how to go to war. Obviously this is again a series that's intended to move very quickly and just sort of get you to start playing things and hopefully pick up from there. So let's just get right back into it. One thing I want to do first is take a look at my little banners up here. We have an unrest banner, which I'll get to in just a moment. But the rest of these I want to take a look at first. So truce will expire. We have to keep an eye on this. December 1449. You can see that it is 1447 right now. So we've got a little ways to go before all these truces will expire. And needless to say, once a truce is expired, these individuals can declare war on you. Whether or not we're going to have a risk of that is left to be seen. Province improvements, not really worried about that right now. Not something I want to cover. We do still have a national decision here. One that's just opened up. Make Constantinople capital. This decision is set to notify when it's available to be taken, so that's good. We know that it's available. We meet all of the requirements. We are at peace. Our primary culture is Turkish. We are Sunni. We control Constantinople. We own those 4 provinces around it. So we can check this. We'll get one more stability, which is good. We'll get a new capital. It'll become our core. The culture will just convert. The religion will convert. We'll get a huge boost to the base tax, production, manpower, just basically making it better. And we will become an empire. So kind of a nice bunch of abilities there. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And bam! Constantinople is now our capital. Excellent. All right, next up we have the mission. So we're going to take a look at the different missions here. We have a mission to form an alliance, a mission to conquer somebody. Let's see where this conquer mission is. Conquer Kaffa. So I'm going to hit F. Or the button down here in the lower right-hand corner. I'm going to type in Kaffa. Kaffa with one F, apparently. And that is way up here, so no thanks. The other mission is to convert Üsküp to Sunni. So, let's see here. Where is Üsküp? Thankfully, you don't have to put in umlauts, or maybe you do. Do you really have to put in... Hang on. You really have to put in... I guess you do have to put in umlauts. Oh, well, there's Üsküp. Üsküp. So let's take that mission. We'll convert them. So we're going to go to the religious conversion. So this is where you can sort of convert, well, you can convert people to your religion. There's a lot of other info here. I'm not going to go over this in super detail. Just note that this green number here affects the unrest in provinces that follow your faith. That's really the most important thing here for now, at least. So we're going to go ahead and scroll down and find Üsküp right there. Pretty difficult to convert, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and send, and in 29 months, Üsküp will have been converted over, and our religion will be good. So the next one here, this is really important. So some of your provinces lack cores. Let's click on it here, and you can see we have this notifier that says make core. So what does this mean? So each of these provinces that we own is considered to be one of our cores. It basically means that is the heart of our territory. It means that the people are integrated into our government, accepting of our government to at least a certain extent, and are really truly part of our realm. The areas that we just conquered, Atina, Belabadra, and Anabolu, are not our cores because we just conquered them. So in order to help integrate these people into our country, we're going to make them a core. And you do that by spending administrative power. So this is something I didn't really talk about last time. I think now is a good time to go over the monarch points. Sometimes they're called MP. There are 3 of them. There's administrative power, which has a scroll and a quill. There's diplomatic power, which has a dove. And there's military power, which has crossed sabers. So each of these is used, they're used for various events. There's tons and tons of uses of them. The most important thing to know is that the more that you get of them, the better. You need these to progress through technology, to get ideas, which are sort of slide technologies, to sign peace deals, to annex people, to make your cores. Even other government effects such as reducing your war exhaustion, boosting your stability, reducing inflation. All things I'm not going to cover right now necessarily, but just know that these are very, very important. They have a cap. That cap is based on what country you're playing. If you mouse over, you can see, in this case, we can keep 1,248 of this power saved. And it'll turn green if it becomes maxed out. One of the benefits of playing as the Ottomans is that our leader is actually quite good at generating these various things. So if you remember this screen, we went ahead and hired some of advisors in the first game. We hired these guys. We filled in their pictures. We hired them. These guys are not only giving us this benefit in green here, so missionary strength, morale of navies, morale of armies. Again, not super important stuff right now, but just know that it's good stuff. But they also give us a boost to the generation of our skills. So we're getting one more admin power per month, one more diplomatic power per month, and one more military power per month. And our leader is actually quite good. Padishah Mehmet II Faith Osmanoglu, as I'm bungling his pronunciation, no doubt, generates 5 admin power, 5 diplo power, and 6 military power each month. That's a lot. The maximum for any leader is 6, 6, and 6. So he's nearly perfect as far as those sorts of things go. That's pretty awesome. That means that our country is going to have a nice springboard going on into the future. So that's sort of a quick rundown of Monarch points. So anyway, we can spend these Monarch points, the admin points in particular, to make these into a core. This will help deal with any potential unrest and general discontent that our civilians will have. So it's generally a good idea that you want to core everything as soon as you conquer it. So we're just going to click on Make Core. You can see progress so far, 0% as we are paused right now. This will be done by the 10th of August, 1449. So that's one aspect of recovering from a successful war. You want to make sure that you are turning your provinces into cores. Next thing we want to worry about generally is overextension, which we've already dealt with. Overextension is more or less how much you've conquered beyond your boundaries, and that's something you can definitely go overboard on. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But just know that overextension is a consideration of how much you've conquered relative to the size of your country. So keep that in mind. Over here we have war exhaustion. So the more fights you get in, especially if you're losing them, or if you're conquering territory, or if your territory becomes conquered, you will get war exhaustion. Your country is just tired of fighting. Thankfully, when you're at peace, the war exhaustion will tick down naturally. So in 11 months, I will have no more war exhaustion, so that's good. You can still declare war if you have war exhaustion, but as you can see, it's got a bunch of red penalties. If we mouse over it, you can see we have all these fancy things that you may or may not know. But just know that they will cause problems if your war exhaustion gets too high. So the next thing that we want to worry about, and this is a pretty big one, and we've glossed over a few times, and this is unrest. So each individual province has a rating of unrest, and if you click on a province, you can actually see over here at the left, unrest and autonomy. So unrest is it's literally the amount of unrest you have in a province. Basically, how the province feels that your government is dealing with their current situations. So we just conquered these 3 places, so they have a lot of unrest right now. That means that they are not happy. They were just conquered, while the peasants and the common folk were probably spared. There may have been some casualties, and so they are just not happy about having been conquered. Unrest will generally just tick down over time as you continue to play the game, but it can come to a head. And the way it can happen is through this interface. So if you click on here, these are all of the possible rebellions that we may see. We have Byzantine separatists, we have Serbian separatists, and so on. Just know that if this unrest is not dealt with in some way, there is a very high chance that these could come to a head and we could actually get rebels. So they'll, eventually, if the problem hasn't been dealt with, they'll say, all right, enough. Let's get some pitchforks and let's go do some stuff. So for now, just to play the game for a little bit, I'm going to ignore the unrest that we have. It can definitely come to a head. It can definitely cause some problems. There are plenty of ways to manage it. But just for now, I'm just going to say, whatever. We've got unrest. Big deal. So we're just going to kind of go with that. So I do want to run time in this episode for sure, but there's a lot of things that I wanted to cover first. The post-war recovery period is really important. So just to give a quick summary, when you conquer places, make sure you turn them into cores. That sort of annexes them fully into our government, into our country, and deal with any potential unrest that you may have. You can deal with it by just letting it go, or you can deal with it by positioning troops there. There's plenty of ways to deal with it. But just know that in the future, when it becomes more and more relevant, we will be dealing with that. So next thing I wanted to talk about was diplomats. So we have all of these other countries around us. Tons and tons and tons of other countries. And it would be nice to make some relationships with them, shake their hands and get to know them and all that kind of stuff. So what we're going to do, we're not going to go too much into diplomatic stuff. We're just going to start doing what's called improving relations. So I have 3 neighbors here. I have Serbia, Wallachia, and Albania. I'm going to improve relations with them. So I'm going to click on their country. So click on their country, click on diplomacy. And then under relations actions, I have improve relation. And literally what you do is you just send a diplomat over there, and that diplomat talks to their leadership and says, hey, we're Ottomans. We're pretty cool. We got like couches and stuff, and got crazy things on the tops of our buildings, and you know, we just took over Constantinople. But this basically allows you to improve the way that that country sees you, and can generally help to quell any potential attacks or anything like that. So just for now, we're just going to send all 3 of our diplomats. You can see we have 3, and you can also see up at the very top of the screen here, you have 1 available diplomat out of 3. We're just going to send all 3 of our diplomats out, and we're going to improve relations with all of our 3 neighbors up here. And we just want to say, hey guys, you should totally be our friends. So I'm going to let the time run here at 3 times speed, and while this is happening, I want to talk about one other thing with regards to recovery after a war. So when you're fighting, your troops are going to take some casualties. And, you know, unavoidably, you're going to take a bunch of casualties. When you do, your troops will actually automatically regenerate, which is kind of nice. I'll get into the rivalry thing here in a second. Oh, another pop-up here. So we have another alliance, so just going by what we did before, I'm just going to accept any alliances that we get. Yep, that's cool. Anytime you see a pop-up, we're just going to say, okay, we're going to take that. We're going to be allies with you this game. Why not? So in the post-war recovery period, or even during a fight, while your individual regiments may take damage, there's another alliance, Tlemcen. Sure, I don't know who you are, but we're just going to ally you because that's cool. The game will automatically reinforce the troops that you lose, and that is done out of a pool of manpower. So while these represent standing armies of regiments of 1,000 troops each, so you can see each of these has 1,000 troops, you have a general reserve of manpower, you know, able-bodied citizens who are willing to fight, if you so call upon them. If you were to train new troops, which we will do here in a little bit, that would take from your manpower reserve, as well as any reinforcements that you need to have. So, in fact, just to give a demonstration of this, let me find a place here that's going to incur some attrition, which I'll go into more detail, but just for now, I'm going to be going somewhere that's going to cause my guys to die a little bit. I'm going to take some guys and I'm going to sacrifice them just for the purposes of this demonstration on why manpower is so important. Oh, getting more pop-ups. We're just going to say, yep. Yep, I don't know what it is, but we're just going to do it. We're just saying yes. That's all we care about this game. So once my guys have come over here, they're going to start eating attrition. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about that. So without getting into too much detail about it, when you have too many troops in an area, and you can even see it here, there's not enough supplies through farmland and your supply wagons and this sort of general simulation of the game. There's not enough supplies to adequately maintain your troops there, to the point that they will actually be dying. And that is represented as attrition. So while these guys are dying, they're going to be replaced from manpower. The poor souls are just going to have more guys sent over there to replenish them as they are dying. They're saying, well, we're losing casualties, but the boss wants us here, so we've got to stay here. We're just going to reinforce, and we're just going to deal with that. So if you ever see a skull next to your guys, try splitting your army up and moving them into different areas, and that will probably alleviate that situation. So just be warned that if you're seeing a skull there, that means that they're taking attrition. It means that they are dying because there's just too many people there. There's other ways that attrition happens through sieging and a few other different situations, but that's the most common part, when you just have way too many troops in an area and that place can't quite support them. So anyway, manpower. Manpower generates each month. It also has a maximum, 29,562 in this case, which is calculated by a bunch of different aspects. Not really stuff that's super important right now, but just know that manpower generates over time. It will automatically feed your troops as they are dying. So if I take, 7,000 casualties, then I will eventually regenerate 7,000 troops out of the manpower. And again, it is used to recruit as well. So let's go ahead and recruit some extra troops. So to do that, we have this, first of all, we have this this big interface which has all of our sort of government tabs. For the military, for the actual recruiting, we have this production interface, which is right here. You can just click on it. This gives you the option to produce troops. So you want to keep your amount of troops under your force limit. So force limit is how big of an army you can logistically manage without running into too many problems. So we have 26 out of 36, as you can see. We have 14 regiments here and 12 regiments here. So I want to recruit up to the point where I have my force limit maximized. So let's just do that. You can also hire mercenaries. We're not going to get into these. These are very expensive, but can certainly be useful. We're just going to hire regular troops. So let's see here. I just feel like let's hire 7 Yaya infantry and 3 Musellum cavalry. So when you click on it, you can see as you go around here, you have all these various things that are saying how many days it's going to take to train the troops. It's not really that important because we're not likely to get into a fight anytime soon. So I'm just going to go ahead and just click on all these different places. We're going to recruit 7 Yaya infantry, and I'm going to recruit 3 Musellum cavalry. In your playthrough, these numbers may be different. If you want to, just go ahead and recruit all the way up to your maximum army size. No problem. It's fine. So I'm just going to do that, and we're just going to let the time tick, and then after a while, you'll see we're going to start getting some new troops. It's only going to take us a couple months, and we'll have some more people in our armed forces. So let's go back to the rivalry screen. So if you remember last time, I believe I had mentioned that if you have rivals, just match the pictures, just rival people back. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to rival the Mamluks, because they rivaled us. So there we go. Rawr, rawr, rawr. We don't like them. So I'm just going to let my troops all build. Should be coming out here pretty soon. You can actually see if you mess with the outliner, and you can actually customize this to your own desire. You can see there's all sorts of information that it'll give you, and that's something you'll get more comfortable with as you play. I think by default it does show you the regiment recruiting messages. So alright, hey, we got another pop-up here. A golden era for culture. With peace in our country, the great musicians, artists, and poets are rejoicing in the capabilities of entertaining their betters. This is great. We gained 5 prestige. What's prestige? I don't know. I don't really care. It's green. That's good. We got some more green stuff. Hooray. We will care about prestige later. It's very important, but for now, not important. And that's really one of the best parts about playing as the Ottomans, is that they're so powerful and it's so easy to just get into the game and start playing that you really don't have to care about a lot of aspects of the game. It's a very stable country. If you make a couple mistakes, it's not a big deal. You can just start another game. But even then, you have a lot of leeway for coming out of any potential problems or anything like that. So, alright, so we have fully recruited our army. We are now maxed out. We have the most powerful army we're going to be able to field right now. So, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of getting a little bit of an itchy trigger finger, and I want to go to war. But I think I'm going to wait for a little bit because we're still making these places core. So it would be a little weird to go to war and conquer more territory right now when we're still working on integrating the territory that we already have. So we're just going to hold off on that for now. I'm actually going to speed the game up a little bit to try to move forward into the near future. So yeah, getting more notifications, blah, 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 stuff we don't really care about. Yes, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what that is. We're just hitting OK. More useful information that we will care about later, but for now, if something pops up, we just say, okay, thanks for the info, bro. Just smile and nod. We're going for the smile and nod strategy of diplomacy and running our country. Smile and nod. We are interested in learning, but at a specific pace. And this part of the game right here, what's happening right now, is actually very important, because this game can be very exciting, very tense, very fast-paced action, but there are also times where you're just going to be waiting. You're going to be waiting for your manpower to recover, you're going to be waiting for certain diplomatic actions to finish, or you're going to be waiting for things to become core. So it's important to know that, it's really important for me that this part of the game gets shown in this tutorial, that it's okay. It's okay to just let the game run. It's fine. That was one of the biggest things I was worried about when I first started playing. I was thinking to myself, oh my god, I don't have everything perfectly managed. Oh no, what do I do? It's fine. This game has a long enough duration. I mean, we've played not even 4 years of a 380-year game. Literally 1% of the game is over in all this time that we've been playing. So we have plenty of time to continue doing everything that we want to do. It's nothing to worry about. All you have to do is get into the routine of making sure that you're looking at all the different situations that are popping up, and again, we'll learn more of them as we go on, and stay calm and just enjoy yourself. I felt so much pressure when I first started playing this game to, you know, do everything all at once and make sure everything was perfect. It's never going to be perfect, and that's fine. Okay, so we just had another pop-up here. I'm going to go ahead and pause the game real quick, and this one looks fairly similar. In fact, it has a pitchfork crossed with what looks to be a flag. So what is this? This is a rebel uprising. Oh, okay. So if you remember me saying that this unrest can cause rebellions, well, it looks like a rebellion is on its way. We have Byzantine separatists at 60%. What does that mean? Well, that means that there is this group of rebels is 60% of their way to getting angry enough to actually cause an uprising. So they're saying, okay, you know, all right, okay, you're just ignoring us. You're not helping us out as much as you can. So we're just going to get angry about it. And that's okay. And if you mouse over it, you can see where the provinces are that are causing these problems. So you see Atina, 10.5% in the red, Constantini, 3% in yellow. So what does that mean? Well, that's the amount of unrest in each of these places. And there's a whole formula that even tells you there that dictates what the actual chance of the uprising progressing. But there's one thing we can do that's very easy to help deal with this. If you notice, Constantini is at 3%, where Atina is at 10.5%. The reason being that I have troops in Constantini. So these rebels are like, oh, okay, yeah, so it'd be really cool if you didn't mess with us, giant group of 14 troops that's sitting here. So one of the ways you can reduce unrest is by positioning troops in that area. So I think we're just going to do that. We're going to take these guys in Nyanya who are otherwise just sitting here. We're going to move them to Atina. And as you can see here, we have 10.5% unrest. I'm going to unpause, let them get to Atina, and we'll see what happens here. So now it's down to 7.5%, quite a reduction. It's still ticking up, but it's not nearly as high as it was before. So each level of troops, every single regiment that you place there will help deal with the unrest. Okay, so mobs target unbelievers. We got a big thing. Let's see, look for green. No green, so I think I said just go for the first one, so we're going to go for the first one. Hooray, we got piety. What is that? Who knows? Who cares? We just took an option. It was fun. Hooray. We'll figure piety out later. It's not that important. So now we're up to 80%. So we're getting there. There's a good chance we may get rebels. Should be exciting. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a rebellion. Everybody loves rebellions, right? Alright, so we're still running time. Important to remember that running time is part of the game. It's okay to not be doing anything. I'm not touching anything right now. The game is just simulating itself, and that's fine. Okay, so we're getting some pop-ups. I did tell you to ignore all the black pop-ups, and I do still feel like at this point in the game it's okay. It's giving you information, stuff that you probably don't really understand or really care about particularly. So what these pop-ups are, though, is that we have finished coring. You may get these, you may not. I don't remember what the default benefits are, but that means that these provinces that were part of our overextension problem have now finished coring. So all of the downsides of being overextended are gone. They are completely gone. There is still rebellion, but our country as a whole is no longer feeling like we're not a whole, if that makes any sense. So that will actually affect the unrest, as you can see. We do have a slightly lower rate for those, so that's good. And we're just going to keep running time for a little bit. I want to let these rebels either come to a head or sort of balance out a little bit. And I'm going to use this time now, I think, to... Oh, just had some more pop-ups and such. Ah! We just finished our mission. Excellent. Which you can see as evidenced by this. So I'm going to go ahead and send the missionary off to his next place, Vidin, and we're going to take a look at our new missions. So let's see here. Oh, here's a mission we can try out. Improve relations with Akkoyunlu. Mission succeeds when the following criteria are met. Akkoyunlu's opinion of Ottomans is at least 100. Select this mission as your mission. Bam, we'll get some cool green benefit. Who cares what it is? But let's find Akkoyunlu. Akkoyunlu, right here. They're our neighbor. So let's see here. They have a relation of 9 with us. That means that they 9 like us. This goes from -200 to +200. The higher, the more that they like you. The way to improve this is through improving relations, which is exactly what we had done with these guys over here. So let's improve relations with these guys now. We're going to take the mission. All right, so we've taken another mission, just using that mission interface, and I'm going to improve relations. Bam. All right, so after some time, my relations will improve up to 100 from the improved relations benefit, and then these other things that are kind of crazy here are going to eventually balance out, and I will have succeeded this mission. So I'm just going to unpause, and we're just going to run some more time. So we would like to conquer some more people, all right? So the rebels are probably going to pop here soon. If they don't, it's cool. If they do, it's cool. We'll get to experience that. But we should be looking to further conquests. So if you kind of look around here, we have this nice shape, and we have this little extension here, and we have these countries that are flanking us that I feel like they should be in our territory. These are kind of natural places ripe for conquest. So let's take a look at these and see what kind of information we can get about whether or not they would be conquest. Okay, so remember all those truces that we had before? Looks like a lot of those truces are expiring. So let's take a look at these different provinces and see what information we can get. So these guys have a +1 with us. These guys have a -13 with us. These guys have a +23. What about these guys? They have a +18. Okay. So none of them likes us in particular, and that's okay, because we're probably going to be conquering them anyway. But let's take a look at this right here. So this is the alliance flag. So anytime you see this on anybody's province, that means that they have an alliance. And that means that it's very likely when you attack them that they're going to join in on any fights that you have. So say we want to attack Kandar. Kandar is allied with Ramazan. Well, where is Ramazan? Ramazan is right there. So these guys are in an alliance together. So it's good to know that if I do decide to attack these guys, Ramazan will likely help defend them. So that's the first step in trying to figure out if somebody should, you know, if you could attack somebody or not. I'm going to go ahead and unpause here. Truce with Venice, truce with the Papal State, that's fine. You may have gotten this notification that your improved relations is done. Just go ahead and hit recall diplomat. That just basically that diplomat has gone over there. He's schmoozed as much as he can, and you're just pulling him back to your home base for now. So that's totally fine. Okay. Oh, got another pop-up. Let's see here. Oh, lots of red stuff. Well, by default, we're just going to take the first option. Bam! I don't know what it was. It was bad stuff, but we took the first option. Hopefully it works out for us. Okay. Allied with Ramazan, allied with Kandar. So let's go ahead and make the motions like we're going to declare war. Now, this is something I wish they would improve in the game, but if you want to find out really the ramifications of going to war with somebody, you actually hit the declare war button, which is a little inaccurate, because you're not actually declaring war by hitting this button. This is the more like, hey, let's maybe see about going to war with them. So we get this nice little interface here. We can see here there's a green check mark. That means that Ramazan is likely to join in. We also see these red check marks. These are our allies, and none of these guys want to help. Tlemcen, it's a little too far away. Tunis is fighting in another war, and it's pretty far away. Crimea also fighting in another war, and some other things. So we won't get any help from our allies, but that's fine. If we scroll down in here, you can see a bunch of information. You can see that it says something about they hold provinces that are rightly ours. So to finish off this episode, I want to talk about Casus Belli, or Casus Belli. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Casus Belli. If you want to declare war on somebody, you have to have a reason to do that. Not only for your neighbors, but also for your citizens. The biggest example I can give you of what happens when you go to war without a casus belli is to bring up some modern day politics. Remember the whole war in Iraq thing that happened, and how everybody in the United States was pretty ticked off because of a flimsy pretext that the United States used to go to war with Iraq that ended up not really being true? Yeah, that's still something that happens to this day. If you want to declare war, you got to have a reason. And in this game, those reasons are casus belli. So whenever you go to declare war on somebody, you need to check this area out here and make sure you have a casus belli. If you don't have one, there are ways to get them, and I will go into those later. But right now, our casus belli is reconquest. They hold provinces that are rightfully ours. Okay, so that's our CB. We have a casus belli against them. It is to take Cor Kastamonu or take Cor Sinop. Regardless, we have one. That's good. Make sure you have it selected, and then we're going to go ahead and declare war. But I think that's going to actually have to wait until the next episode. And just to show you guys really quickly what it looks like if you don't have a casus belli, let's pretend that we're going to declare war on Hungary. You can see over here, no casus belli. We're going to have a lot of allies over here, and you can see there's some serious minuses, red things over here that are going to be like, oh, you have no valid reason to attack them. You don't want to do that. This is one of the most important things to remember in the game. If you're ever going to want to go to war, make sure you have a casus belli. So next episode, we're going to declare war on these guys, and we're going to find out if we can handle them. See you then, and thanks for watching.